in society, you can look at all of the systems that be. They're sensing something on the horizon that's not necessarily just relegated to the building. There is I could say a sound of freedom. And it's coming within the bowels, or within the bowels of humanity. It's coming from within creation itself. You know, there's a cry in creation in Romans 8. And I believe, as we see, and that the cry is not just relegated for us. It's not just for the saved.
Yeah.
It's the unsaved. Because I mean, we're all in His image. And we're all after His likeness. So we understand that. So you're going to hear certain sounds and signals, certain things politically and things of that sort. And there's, as Paul wrote to the church of Corinth, there is a sound in the earth, or a voice without that has significance. There's nothing in the earth that we're receiving right now is without significance. You ever heard that in Roman? I think it's 1 Corinthians 14, right? Somewhere in there. And so we got to understand that, and that's why it's imperative for us to allow the Spirit of God to straighten out our, what's the word? Our antenna, so that we can connect to the right frequency. I mean, sometimes some of you guys are not young enough to know about it, but back in the days, we used to be home on Saturday. It seemed like everybody wanted to get on their CB.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I ain't gonna say what I was watching, but y'all know that, right? Soul Train. I'm sitting there watching Soul Train, and then there's a signal come in. You can hear people talking through your TV. Somehow the frequency on the CB interrupt your program. Am I right? And so we have to understand the same thing is transpiring spiritually right now. There is some interruptions. And so we have to make sure we're dialed in, or tuned in. That's why they used to, back in the days, having little rabbit ears. You can have, hey man, you didn't have a jack coming out of your wall. You had to buy rabbit ears. But that's probably taking y'all off. Y'all didn't come here for all that. Amen. So there was a change on how you connected. Those waves are always up there, but it had to have an instrument to tap into those waves, right? Same way, right now. So that's what this teaching should do. Cause your antenna to be upright so that you can tap into the waves, because there is a sound in the earth, and we don't want to have static. Come on now. We want to be able to discern the voice of God, even through religion.
Yes. Yes.
Even through religion, because you can see it right now. You know, you got them anti-maskers and them anti-vaxxers. They are ugly, vicious, attacking nurses, attacking school board meetings, all under the guise of Christianity. So conservatism has created this monolith, I know you said this, I was going to say monolith, but that won't even fit, this monstrosity. That all of a sudden, seeing that they got this, they're been elected by God to bring everything into divine order. Yeah, right. And all it is under the auspices of religion. So y'all know I don't normally spend the first 15 minutes just rambling, right? Y'all okay? But I just wanted to get that off my chest, because I think I need to fortify this house so that we can avoid those pitfalls and pit holes and those minefields. We won't get catch. Being able to stream freely in your own home at your own risk, you can get caught up into a lot of groups and a lot of information that's not necessarily correct.
Amen.
And I can't keep you from doing what you do, evidently. I mean, I've said some things in group before, but for whatever that's worth. So I try to make sure, you know, at least you have some type of framework to work with. You know, so you can say, hey, my pastor did say it, even after you get involved. Am I right? Because normally it's afterwards. I'm like, dang, man, I remember Apostle said something 2 years ago. Dang it, I knew I should have followed on then. Don't worry about it, we all do it. So we want to continue with this teaching. Let's go to Galatians 1. And I need to reiterate over and over and over and over and over that we are in Reformation. Reformation is not just a cute term and people use it. I've listened to other folks. Some folks got a grasp on it. Some folks are extreme with it. It's not necessarily, Reformation is just the umbrella of everything that God is doing and been doing the last 20-some odd years. And it's becoming more acceptable, more mainstream, and it has to become a part of who we are somewhere along the line, or we're going to keep doing some of the same things we've always done and never experienced God's quality of life. I don't know about you, but I want to experience the life that God intended for me to experience. I'm sorry if that frustrates you, but I just want what God has intended for us. All right? So we need sound doctrine. We need sound doctrine. And not only just need it for sake of for distribution, or for sake of just being espoused to or exposed to teaching. We need sound doctrine that we can incorporate, that we can assimilate, that we can allow it to be the barometer, right? The litmus test for everything that we do, so it can give us the correct foundation. So we got to be able to allow it somehow to filter correctly the things that we hear. That's why we have such a luxury on the group, y'all. And look, nobody's have perfected grammar. I've gone back through my time. If you ever go to my my post, you're gonna see, dang, Apostle made edit. He revised it 7 times. No, skip it, because I found out I probably was doing something, or so I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna straighten it out. Amen. But that's the liberty I have. And I'm not competing with nobody. I'm just being me. All right. And I want to know. And I want you to know. All right? We need your participation. That's why I put it there. Wake up and grow up. Your life, God put you in the earth for something. So we need to make sure that as a collective body, as a house, as a community, as an embassy, as a center of training and institution and training, not just institution and training, but activation as well, that we need to be advocates for sound doctrine. I may have not given it to you, baby. I'm thinking I haven't. We need to be advocate of sound doctrine, because I wasn't going to include it. But I just got to make sure I hammer this home. Amen? Because of all of the influx of things that's going on. So we need to, we need not just doctrine, sound doctrine. That's doctrine that you understand. That's what it is. Sound doctrine is not just a taboo adjective or something. It means sound doctrine. Doctrine you can go through scriptures, and not to prove anybody wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because most of us, that's what we do. We go to scriptures because we don't want to use it as a battering ram. And it becomes a wedge, and it becomes divisive. No, you understand it is your life. That's why you want sound doctrine, because your life depends on it. The quality of your life. Not the length, but the quality of your life depends on you being able to process the instruction correctly. You got me? Mano to mano? You say yeah. Yes. All right, so we understand it. So we'll talk about that sometime. This is not the message I want to share, but we're going to talk about that sometime, because I'm going to show you how philosophical things come to divert sound doctrine. So I got like 20 different things about sound doctrine and what it would do for us. It's the apostolic message. We have to get it on the inside of us. All right? All right. Galatians 1:14. Talking about Paul. Paul wrote to the church of Galatia. They weren't Jews. They were not a part of the original plan But Paul has the mandate to go to this group of people, this ethnos. It said in did I go up one? I think I'm with, yeah. I think I'm with it. Yeah, there you go. For you have heard of my conversation in times past in the Jews' religion, how that beyond measure I persecuted the church of God and wasted it. So he was gung-ho. He was a zealot. Right? I don't know if I'm saying the word right. Zealot. Some say zealot, but I call it zealot. Zealot. There you go. There you go. Zealot. That's even better. But anyhow, he was gung-ho. He was passionate because he was trained. He had a strong pedigree. He sat at the feet of Gamaliel. He was excited about he was raised in Sunday school. He probably they didn't have Sunday school. Sunday school is only the last 60 years, by the way. But anywho, some children's ministry too. Everybody used to sit in the sanctuary, but it didn't go well.
That's true.
Yeah, I know it is. But he was eloquent. He was fluent. He was skillful in the word of righteousness.
Yes.
He had as it related to the Old Testament, he was a master of the language. Because he said at the foot of Gamaliel, he was one of the foremost theologians at the time. So he wasn't no second-class citizen as it relates to scriptures. And so it breeded the same thing we see today.
Yeah.
It played out on a larger scope through the media. So we just got more of them.
Right. Yes.
But he had such a zeal and a passion, and he was excited about what he had been exposed to previously. So he had a strong religious pedigree and upbringing.